Hey TCKs and non-TCKs. So, question. Have you ever been in a situation where you do something that would have been culturally appropriate in your past culture, but in the culture that you're currently in, it suddenly marks you as a very different kind of individual? I don't know, for me, say, sitting down. Something that you would think would be totally regular and normal, like, oh yeah, you just have a seat, you know? No, there are actually cultural differences to sitting, and here's what I've experienced. Hey, how's it going? Man, it's in for a long time. Just pop a squat. I'll just stand up. Now, obviously those are just a few examples of things that I've ran into in terms of, oh, how do you sit? Oh, I don't know, I guess I'm doing it differently. But this is something that I'm constantly running into. I'll find myself going to sit down and I'm like popping an Asian squat, which, why is it called an Asian squat? Hello, South Pacific, we do it too. Or I'll go and I'll sit cross-legged, and I've found that a huge difference in my personal experience. I'm not saying this is statistics or anything, just my own personal experience. But in a lot of first world countries, it's very common for people, all genders, to man spread, like just wide open, just, you know, taking up all the space you can. Whereas in the cultures that I've experienced in terms of third world cultures, like, we tend to sit kind of closed in, like, oh, we're gonna sit cross-legged, or, you know, we'll sit with our legs close together. And that's just, I don't know, it's something that I've found that's really different. And Americans will be like, I hate to point out Americans in this one, they'll just sort of look at me like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't know, I'm just sitting. I thought this is how we all sat, but I guess not. And even though I've lived in America for quite some time now, it's still something that I'm running into where it's just so like muscle memory for me to just, oh yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just sit cross-legged or Indian style. Why is everything so racist here? Hello, other cultures do it too. Cultural awareness, hello. But it's something that I'm consistently running into. So I don't know. Do you have this problem? Do you go to sit and then you find yourself like, oh, I am not like the other people around me. All right, awkward. And something else that I've experienced, I just thought of this one, is when you're at like a park bench or you're in a cafeteria. And for me, when I see that, okay, so table, bench. For me, when I would go and sit down on the bench part, right? Like, that's where your bum's supposed to go. You sit down and then your food goes on the table, good to go. And a lot of cultures that I found in first world cultures, I found that they will actually like sit down on the top of the table. And for the cultures that I've experienced growing up, you don't ever put your bum on like the table or where the food is supposed to go, because that is where food goes. You don't mix the two. That's not something you do in the cultures. But in, for America, for example, you know, a lot of teenagers, it's a cool thing to do, to be sitting on top of the table. And it's like, no, that's not what you do. That's so not appropriate. And another thing that I've noticed is here in America, a lot of people will manspread, first of all. But secondly, in Solomon Islands, or cultures that I've experienced in terms of third world countries, is if your legs are spread out in front of you, you never ever walk over them, or someone else will never walk over them, or if you see someone with their legs spread out, I would never walk over their legs. You know, like if possible, I would go around behind them, or you know, walk around so that I'm not crossing over their legs. Here in America, however, where everyone's in sort of like man spread just everywhere, I've noticed that people will just very freely just walk over people's legs, and I'm like, hello, no, that's disrespectful. Can you, I don't know, can you like walk around next time or something? And yeah, it's just sort of a cultural difference that I'm consistently running into. And I don't know, have you ever experienced that? Let me know in the comments below. But yeah, there's a lot of things in terms of culture that even though you're a third culture kid, you may have a first world and a third world culture just sort of colliding, and it's like, wow, okay, that was really different. And the people around you are like, you're really odd, that's cool. So yeah, let me know in the comments below if this has ever happened to you, because it's always happening to me. Hey TCK, it's a big little world out there. Let's make it smaller. Okay, but seriously, it actually really annoys me when Americans do like, yeah, or just like, tabletop, boom. It's like, no, gosh, sit on the bench, stop. It's not hygienic. Ugh.